Welcome back, guys. Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me. I always appreciate that. And welcome, Steeler Nation. Here we are right before week 4, the before play. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Houston Texans. They'll be heading down to Houston, and let's just say this and get it out the way. Will the trip from Las Vegas affect the Steelers' performance? I know that's going to be a question. I know that's going to be an excuse if they were to lose to the Texans, but whatever, man. Just thought I'd say that. But yeah, man, heading into Houston, Steelers are currently sitting at 2-1. Surprising that we're saying that, right? Very surprising given the fact that how they started off in week 1 against the 49ers, how some of you guys in Steeler Nation were already off of the, I don't know, I'm not going to say bandwagon because if you're already a fan, but you guys was off the wagon. You were out on the Steelers that quick. You know, everybody should be benched. Everybody should be fired. And now look at them. They're 2-1. And by the way, both of their wins are AFC opponents. So let's see what happens. If they can go into Houston and get a win tomorrow, they're sitting at 3-1. Again, I still don't know what type of team the Steelers have right now. I still feel like they don't have a real identity offensively. I still feel like there's some chinks in the armor in terms of defensively. Are they a good defense? Yes. Have they been able to turn the ball over? Yes. However, they still have some areas that I think they need to be a little more consistent. Did a better job against the run game against Josh Jacobs. And we'll see what they do against the Texans. They got a couple runners down there as well. Pierce being probably the more dominant. Singletary is still there. But yeah, listen, we'll see what happens. And I'm just going to give my quick assessment, man. But before I do that, let's take a look at the injury report. Let me pull it up here so you guys can read along with me. Let's take a look and see what we got. So what we currently know right now, and I'll scroll back up to the Pittsburgh Steelers. First, we'll just take a look at the guys who were on the injury list on Friday. I always like to mention the guys who were there because a lot of times some of these guys is good to know if they were full participants, as well as knowing, you know, some of these names could perk up over the weekend, right? But Presley Harvin did not practice on Friday with a hamstring. Wide receiver Allen Robinson was full. Patrick Peterson, full. Miles Killebrew, full. Isaac Seumalo, full. And his was not injury related, nor was Patrick Peterson. So that's good. Chukwuma Okorafor, full. James Daniels, out. Darnell Washington, full. Connor Hayward, full. Gunnar Olszewski, full. And I'm going to be honest, I really don't care. Gunnar, I'm out on Gunnar right now, man. He is on my you-know-what list. He is now number 89. Will not be referring to him as Gunnar O anymore. He's 89 until further notice. And then also Larry Ogunjobi, full. So that's good to know. And if we scroll back up here, take a look at game status. As of now, we already know Presley Harvin is out. Woo. James Daniels is out. Oof. We'll talk about that in a moment. So let's scroll down to the Houston Texans. Let's take a look at their Friday report. Josh Jones did not practice. Denzel Perryman did not practice. Taveri Thomas did not practice. Laramie Tunsil did not practice. Center guard Michael Dieter did not practice. Tank Dell was full. George Fant, full. Jonathan Greenard, full. Shaquille Griffin, full. Shaq Mason, full. Jalen, is it Petrie? Full. Jimmy Ward, full. And Robert Woods, full. Of course, those two guys was not injury related, as well as Tank Dell and George Fant was not injury related. Let's take a look at who they expect to be out or questionable. Josh Jones is out. Denzel Perryman is out. Taveri Thomas is out. I'm not familiar with Thomas. I don't know if he played last week or not, even though I did watch that game in the condensed version. I didn't really pay attention to their secondary. Laramie Tunsil is out again, which means we're probably going to see Kendrick Green. And I will say this as well. I did not really scout Kendrick Green watching the tape of the Jags versus the Texans as well. I really don't care. We know all about Kendrick Green. You know, I hear he's doing a little bit better. And like I said, guys, I don't have the time to really study, these other teams that are not the Steelers. I will briefly look at the game. But wasn't really honed in. I had one quick pass just kind of seeing what the Houston Texans do offensively and defensively. And then Michael Dieter is questionable with the chest. All right, so that is pretty much, guys, what's going on the injury front. And let me just talk a little bit about this game. Presley Harvin being out to me is significant. Why, you might ask? Well, he punted extremely well in last week's game. Extremely well. And he's punted extremely well the last 2 weeks. We know the first week he had some shaky punts. We know last year he had some shaky punts as well. But I thought he punted very well against the Vegas Raiders. But him being out, we'll be interested to see who the Steelers are going to replace him with. And actually, let me do that right here in real time. I'm going to go to transactions and see if they did pick up a punter. No, I haven't had a chance. Yes, they did. Brad Wing. So they signed Brad Wing. I remember they brought Brad Wing in to the practice squad, and they have signed him. Well, they said he was signed to the practice squad on the 27th, and that this is on the Steelers site. So I'm assuming that he's brought up by now. I'm assuming he's probably going to be brought up to. Let me check one other area here. Let me see if Steelers Depot has it. Sometimes Steelers Depot had their information up before Steelers website. So let me see. Not really seeing it as I'm scrolling through, but anyway, I would say this. More than likely, if he was signed to the practice squad on the 27th, which today is the 30th, then I'm pretty sure he's been elevated unless somebody has snatched him off the practice squad. I don't know, but I would assume we're going to go into that game with Wing as the punter. It's interesting. I thought they would bring in the man kid, the guy who was in camp. I don't know if he's signed somewhere, but whatever. But again, pay attention to the fact that Harvin isn't out there. He had a very good, significant role against the Raiders, so I think his presence will be missed. Also, James Daniels. Now, I can't say that James Daniels has been outstanding this year. I mean, none of the offensive line have been great. They were better against the Raiders because of the type of blocking scheme we decided to go with more. We kind of went away from the zone scheme and went more power and duo and combo blocks. James Daniels is out. I think we're going to get a chance to see Nate Herbig. I would expect Nate Herbig is going to get the start at right guard. So that will be interesting, man, especially if the Steelers, come out with the same mentality and run the football that way, more straight on blocks, again, duo blocks, combination blocks, power type of block, those type of run schemes. It'll be interesting to see what the big boy Nate Herbig can do. A lot of us were a little excited by what potential he could bring to the team when he was signed. So I'm very interested to see these two guys, man, Siamalu and Herbig, who are familiar with each other, both manning the guard position. So we'll see. We'll see. He gets a shot. So as far as what the Steelers need to do, man, to secure victory, again, I watched the condensed version of the game, all of the plays, but it runs through it in 36 minutes. And like I said, I wasn't watching it intently, wasn't watching individual players. But I think offensively, the Steelers have an opportunity to win the line of scrimmage. Even though Jacksonville could not beat them, if you look at the tape, there were quite a few times where they were able to run the ball. Travis Etienne was able to run the ball pretty effectively. I don't know what he ended up with as far as total yards, but there were many times that I saw great push by the offensive line of the Jaguars, and able to run the ball against the front of the Houston Texans. So I would think if the Steelers have the same approach that they had against the Raiders, and that type of blocking, and now with a bigger body in there with Herbig, I think they have an opportunity to run the football more or less than, what I normally say every week. Oh, they need to get the run going. No, this time, of course, they need to get the run going, but a more honed in focus needs to just be on try to get your bully ball off. That's what they talked about in the offseason. I think this is the week that you try to get that bully ball going, just running right at them, because like I said, didn't give a whole lot of resistance to the Jacksonville Jaguars when the Jags chose to run the ball. They were able to run the ball pretty effectively. Actually, man, hold on. Y'all know I like to see stuff in real time. Actually, I'm going to pull it up on my phone really quick. I don't want to pull it up in the browser because sometimes, audio will automatically play. And, YouTube is so funny. I don't want to risk any chance of copyright or whatever. So hold on. Let me see if I can go to that game from last week. I'm just curious now to know what ETN finished with. Let me see. Week 3. Jags versus, here we go. Here it is. And that game was a little bit closer than 37-17. The Houston Texans fullback returned the kick. I thought that was an interesting play. Here we go. Stats. Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence didn't really have a great game, average. But yeah, ETN was 19 for 88. He averaged 4.6. And like I said, man, if you watch the game, and I know they had to throw the ball, they had to kind of keep it balanced as well because they were behind Trevor Lawrence 40 attempts. If you watch that game, man, ETN definitely had his moments. And it was moments where, you can definitely agree with that 4.6. So that's why I'm saying I think this could be a game where the Steelers try to implement that bully ball, be physical, straight on, duo, combo type of blocks. And I think they have an opportunity. This might be an opportunity for Najee to get going a little bit. We'll see. Also, I didn't see a lot of pass rush. And I had heard some other people speak on that. I heard shout outs to Steelers Depot. Dave and Alex kind of spoke on that on one of the podcasts this week where they were saying, the Texans doesn't really have a strong pass rush. Of course, Will Anderson, we all know him. But, he hasn't really been much of a factor so far in this early season. And I didn't see a lot of it, man. Trevor Lawrence had a lot of time. So, again, I'm just going to say this could be a chance and for the Steelers to win this game. I think if they can control the line of scrimmage, they'll have opportunities in the run and pass game. As far as defensively, I did notice that they'll take some shots. They'll take some shots downfield. That kid Tank Dell has real good speed. He's a speed guy, so need to keep an eye on him. And I will say this, man, I like that little young core of receivers that the Texans have. They got a young talented nucleus. Even Mechie is there. What's the other kid's name? It's somebody else I'm missing, but Robert Woods, the veteran, savvy veteran. They got Brevin Jordan, the tight end. Like they got some nice young talent there. Oh, Nico Collins, playing real physical, after getting the ball, run after catch, breaking tackles, and just being real physical downfield. So they got some talent. So let's not get it twisted. I know they're 1-2 or what have you, and most people would say, quote unquote, they're not that good a team. But let me give you a reality check. The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't that good a team either. We are also a team on the rise. So it is not impossible to think that the Steelers can go into that environment and drop the game. It's not impossible. But I do think the Steelers have a chance to win this game. I think we match up well. Like I said, watch out for the big plays, watch out for the deep shots downfield. But with the speedy receiver, it does, make me perk up a little bit because, again, we know Patrick Peterson just can't run the way he once did. So, anybody who possesses speed against us is going to be quite the issue. Like, I'm even thinking ahead. Like, think about when we play the Bengals, a guy like, what we going to do against Chase, Jamar Chase, guys like that. I think guys like Higgins and that unit that they have there can present some real challenges for us. But we'll see. That's down the road. But like I said, watch out for the big play. They'll take some shots downfield. CJ Stroud, does do pretty well in his ball placement and such, but just don't keep the pressure on him. Keep the pressure on him. I did notice a little bit of happy feet in watching some of the tape, but I will say this as well. This could be a game as well where the Steelers defensive line can eat. The Texans are coming into this game down a couple players, right? Kendrick Green is going to be playing. That's all I'm saying. This should be an opportunity for the Steelers front to go eat and be successful. Already not dealing with, you already don't have to deal with Laramie Tunsil, so you already have backup players on that offensive line, and you're going to have Kendrick Green right there. So we'll see how that pans out. Another thing I think we should do offensively, because I saw the Jags get it off a few times, I like to see Matt Canada and, mix in some screens in this game. Like that screen play we ran to Jaylen Warren last week in the third quarter. That was a nice play call. I like to see more halfback screens in this game in particular because, again, the Jags were successful with it. Tight end screen would be nice as well. Both teams were running screen a lot, but yeah, come on, Matt Canada. This is the game for you to pull out some of that stuff you love and do it, right? And when I say love, I know he likes those quick screens to wide receivers, but let's get Jaylen Warren involved in more screen plays. Let's get Pat Fryermuth involved in more screenplays. Hey, let's even get a guy like Darnell Washington involved in more screenplays. I think this is the week to do it. So if the Steelers can, play to their strengths offensively, don't do too much, I think they have a great chance to win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think that's where it starts and ends. So trying to switch up my approach a little bit this week. I'm not just going to, be cliche and say, oh, they need to run the ball. That's obvious, but I'm going to be more specific. I think the Steelers match up very well on both sides of the ball in the trenches. And I think if they take care of their business at the line of scrimmage on defense and offense, they have a great chance to be victorious. But we shall see. Do not sleep. Like I said, my beloved team is not a great team right now, so it would not surprise me if they're unable to get the job done. But we shall see. That's what I got. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, definitely turn on those notifications. And I appreciate you guys watching. God bless. Stay safe. Have fun watching that game tomorrow. And hopefully we're smiling in the post-game show. All right? Catch y'all next time. Peace.